everyone, and welcome to Grip Lock, Foundation Disc Golf's weekly podcast. I'm Hunter, joined as always by Trevor and Konner. And before we get into today's episode, we're going to take a moment to thank our sponsors. Today's episode is brought to you by Discbox. So many disc golfers have tons of extra discs cluttering up their closets and cars. I haven't read this ad read fully yet, but gosh darn it, is that me.
I need so many things to store my discs.
Well, there are very few storage products on the market that are designed specifically for golf discs and that don't waste any space. And unfortunately, the ones that do exist are terribly expensive. But now there's finally an affordable option called Discbox. Discbox is the only low-cost disc golf storage product on the market. You can head over to discbox.com. You'll find quantity discounts, wholesale options, multiple colors, and most importantly, no order minimum, so you can order just a single box if you want. And exclusively for our listeners, you can head over to discbox.com and use code GRIPLOCKED, one word GRIPLOCKED, to get 10% off. So visit discboxdg.com. discboxdg.com today and get your collection organized, and don't forget to use code GRIPLOCK to get 10% off. Thanks again to Discbox for sponsoring today's episode.
They're nice boxes. I've got a few. They're nice boxes.
All right, let's get into some Beaver State Fling action that went down. There was a fling in the Beaver State last weekend.
Really?
Wow.
Really
What is
good.
the Beaver State? What is the Beaver State?
Oregon.
That makes sense. That's where all the beavers are.
I like the like creative tournament names, and I like that there's like a fling. You know, you have your opens and all that stuff, but like the fling.
Yeah, that is cool.
The Beaver State Fling. How
like
fun
that.
is that?
BSF, baby.
BSF.
It was a Silver
BFFs
Series.
forever.
Silver Series this year. I think last year it was canceled or moved.
Moved. It turned into it was the Portland Open was supposed to be played.
That's right. That's how the Portland.
Yeah, I
Open
don't even
came to
know
be.
if the Beaver State Fling existed last year.
I think it's because it got rained out or something, right?
It was a hurricane. Or a tornado that destroyed
and then
Milo.
the Portland Open happened. But this year, the Portland Open happened and Beaver State Fling happened, but Beaver State Fling was only a Silver Series despite being around for a lot longer and a more history as a prestigious
That
event.
is interesting, isn't it?
But
That is interesting.
in history, they haven't been able to do live coverage out there. This year, we got live coverage, which raises the question of next year, do they have the Portland Open as a Pro Tour, or do you think Beaver State Fling has a chance of being elevated back to its Elite Series
It's
status?
tough because
or do both happen?
the courses that they're using for the Portland Open, especially the redesign one this year, are actually pretty fun, pretty cool. Well, now, I mean, Blue Lake is what it is, but it's Glen DeVere, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty electric course, I think, the redesign. So I guess that maybe comes into play. And I think spectators, too, will be part of the decision-making with what you can do at Milo. And I think that the Pro Tour typically is trying to shy away from parks and get to more private venues in general. That seems to be the trend. So it wouldn't surprise me if they are just trying to keep it around but not make it like the main event.
Yeah.
And I get that. I get that they're trying to work towards a future of the sport. And if you bring it back on as a main event, you're going to have to get rid of it at some point.
Yeah.
And then it's like, it'll be even worse.
I understood the reasoning to get rid of it. Well, obviously when you had to, but then also to bring it back when they originally, I could be crazy for this, but I swear up one tree and down another that they had made a post earlier in the year saying that there wasn't going to be live coverage at Beaver State.
That sounds familiar.
It sounds so familiar to me. But then when I said it, Brody was like, no, there's live coverage. And he was like so confident. And there was live coverage. I watched it. But I could have sworn that was a thing. But like, so when I was thinking there's no way for live coverage to happen, it made sense. You can't have an Elite Series event with no live coverage because like that's a big part of the Pro Tour's offering and the Disc Golf Network and all that.
Maybe this was just like them. Maybe I'm wrong, and maybe they were just testing the waters with the Silver Series and like, oh, live went well. We're going to do
That's
it.
what I don't know. It's just something to think about. Just because the Beaver State Fling does have a lot of history.
It does.
And it was a national tour event for quite a while. And obviously the courses, they've been playing those courses. That's where Philo's Albatross happened, which I believe they changed that to a par 4 this year.
Love that.
Which, like, does that taint the memory of Philo's Albatross?
It hurts for sure. Because, like, now, like, imagine you walk up that hole.
I'll verify that.
Imagine your Philo, you walk up to the hole, and you're like, I had an Albatross in this hole. And then you have to explain, like, oh, well, it used to be a par 5. Like, it takes some of the sting out of it. It doesn't change how amazing that shot was.
Yeah, it doesn't matter who you are or how much disc golf you've seen if you watch that clip.
Do we
It's
remember what
crazy.
hole number it was?
I don't.
He didn't do an 1,100-foot hole.
No.
So that's the only par 5 on this course.
Because here's the thing
round
is, I
2.
think if he had made that shot and it was an eagle, it would have gotten maybe not quite the same recognition, but still quite a bit because it was still an insane shot.
Yeah, so the only par 5 on the entire tournament is hole 15 at Milo East, which is 1,196 feet.
It doesn't seem feasible.
I don't think that's what Philo albatrossed.
I mean, there's a quick way to find this out.
Although none of these other ones, maybe it's hole 12, 690. That's such a short par 5.
Philo Albatross, Beaver State Fling. I've got it right here.
Maybe they moved the tee
6
back?
west, 850 feet.
6 west. So that's round 2.
Only 850 feet. That's why they changed
Hole
it, I guess.
6. Yeah, it's a par 4 now.
Dang, get wrecked, Philo.
Yeah, so like
No luck for Philo.
that's an interesting one. Let's look at the stats of hole 6 on west.
Yeah, what did it play?
It played .27 over par. So it would have played basically a full stroke under par average.
Yes.
Well, let's just see if there were any 10% of the field was below par on it, so 10% birdied it, no eagles. So still no one else has done it, Philo.
Reachable par 5s are interesting in disc golf because in golf, you love the reachable par 5 because it makes par 5 just so much more exciting. Having it not reachable in 2 kind of stinks. But the course can be very easily protected because golf, it's so much harder to be precise and putting is so much harder. Whereas in disc golf, if you can reach a par 5 and 2, the eagles are just going to be coming out of like all over the place. Now,
Because then you can just get within 60, 70 feet. And you have a
right.
solid
Now, I
chance.
will say there are some examples still, like hole 18 at the previous event at
Glendoveer.
Portland. That would be an example of a par 5 that still is. It's
Well, 'cause it was
reachable,
reachable, but it was
possible.
protected by OB.
I think in disc golf, that's what you need is like holes that are reachable. Like it can be done if it needs to be, but it's like really not the smart play.
well,
Because
yeah,
in
'cause it
golf,
needs
it's
to
like
be
that's like very often like, well, yeah, you've got a 3-wood into the par 5. Duh, like take it.
It needs to be protected by OB, I think. Because if it's protected just by woods.
Yeah, you need to make the landing shot like difficult. You need to give it. Yeah.
Well, even the green, because like if you go
That's
for
what
the
I mean.
green,
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Because
Where
if you
you're
go for the
landing.
green and you end up 60 feet away, if you're OB, not going to happen a lot. But
Right.
if you're in the woods now instead of the wide open, people might still make that putt.
Yeah.
So I think if you're
at
trying
the
to make
very
it,
least, it's an easy birdie.
if you're trying to make it where people think through it. But anyways, let's get to some results. So on FPO, we had Valerie Mandujano taking it down by 4. Katrina Allen came in 2nd. Owen Scoggins came in 3rd. Val was actually down by 4 heading into
Yeah.
the final round and ended up winning by 4.
Wow.
Back-to-back wins, 1 Elite Series, 1 Silver Series,
Heck yeah.
undefeated in Oregon. The big momentum shift was 3-stroke swing on hole 6, where Val birdied and Katrina double bogeyed. But it was in the middle of a momentum shift where Val gained 5 strokes in 3 holes. So 5, 6, 7. Val gained 1 stroke, 3 strokes, 1 stroke, 5 strokes in those 3 holes. And that was, she never looked back after that.
Yeah.
But yeah, down 4 going into the final round, ended up winning by 4. It was Katrina Allen's tournament to win, or to lose, I guess you could say, obviously, because she had a 4-stroke lead. I decided to stir the pot a little bit on Twitter by asking a question that I knew would get people fired up because
Nice.
I knew
Love
the
it.
answer was no.
That's a very Silas thing to do.
Well, it was, except for this wasn't this was just a normal take. I knew the answer was no, but I knew that there would be enough people that are blinded by recency that would say yes. And so I just asked, is Val the best FPO player in the world right now? And it worked. Got people all riled up. People are in the comments, and people immediately were like, well, you didn't even say Simon was the best player in the world when he won 2 in a row, and that was Elite Series. And I responded. I was like, well, for Simon, Ricky was injured at 1, missed the other, Dickerson missed both.
Yeah.
And they were like, well, for Val, Kristen wasn't at either, and Paige wasn't at 1. I said, yeah, I don't think Val's the number 1 player in the world. Like, I was like, I just asked a question, man. I love it.
I love that. That's so
Because
great.
then on Twitter, people were like, you can't ask a question and not have people think it's your opinion. I was like, well, people can think it's my opinion, but it wasn't. I was just trying
That's
to get
so
you riled up,
funny.
and guess what?
you were just
we are.
twittering.
Here we are, 5 replies into the algorithm later, and you're fired up at me.
That's so funny.
It was
That is
great. It
really
was
fun.
electric. But
Yeah.
no, we're not going to update power rankings after Beaver State because we only do it after Elite Series and major events. But for those of you curious, if Val moves, she might jump Kat, but she's not touching Paige or Kristen because, again, Paige wasn't there. Kristen hasn't been there. And I don't think
When
that.
is Kristen coming back?
I'd imagine after the Europe
What are
swing.
we doing?
I'd imagine after the Europe
How
swing.
about
but I don't know.
you use that contract, get yourself a nice condo in LA, and let's get this US tour going.
Where is Val from again?
Texas.
Texas.
Just kidding.
Where'd you think she was from?
I remember that now because that's like her whole stamp.
Yeah.
I was just thinking back to whenever we thought all the European FPO players were going to come over here and just like whip everybody around.
Well, that's because Evelina was supposed to be a lot better than she was, and she hurt all of
That's
us.
who I'm thinking, Evelina.
So was Henna.
How funny is that that's all we talked about all off season and going into the season? And
I was so excited about it, and my heart was broken in two.
maybe,
I mean, they were in the, but it's not like they weren't in the mix.
Did
though.
exactly
It's
what
not
we
like
thought.
they just sunk.
yes, and also Evelina would have won many events had she been able to make a putt from 10 feet.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
she threw as good as anybody.
Kristen was as good as Kristen. Arguably, was better than we expected.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She hasn't come outside the top 3 this
So
year.
at least we have that.
Yeah, so Kristen.
So
yeah.
Kristen, great job. Evelina and Henna, how dare you?
Maybe they're gonna come back from
No, don't start
the
this.
break and be better.
Don't put your hope in it. On the MPO side, we had Double G, Mr. Garrett Gerthy, taking it down, and I believe it was on National Jerky Day.
Oh, I saw you said it was.
National
That's
Jerky
why,
Day.
dude. He was all.
Well, I
he was
googled
all
National
hopped up on
Jerky Day, and the first one said June 9th. The second one said June 12th. If it was June 12th, he won on National Jerky Day.
So wait, you just Googled National Jerky Day?
Jerky
Yeah.
Day.
Did you have like a
I
feeling?
had seen a post.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm seeing both June 9th.
Yeah,
and
like, I don't
June
know which one's
12th.
which. So
June
he
12th,
either-
June 12th.
He either won 3 days after National Jerky Day
I'm
or
saying
on
way more June
Okay,
12th.
so he won on National Jerky Day.
That's huge.
He
That
won.
is the-
On Griplock's National Jerky Day.
That is the
Wow.
greatest thing. If Double G Jerky isn't making some kind of T-shirt that has
Yeah.
like his win and National Jerky Day combined, then what are we doing? Like, how is this business? I'll
That's
buy
so
it.
funny.
I want it.
Yeah. So Double G takes
I would
down
like to have it.
on
That's
National
incredible.
Jerky Day, and then we had Joel Freeman came in second, and Corey Ellis 1 stroke behind him in third. That's important. We'll get to that in a second later. We almost had the moment that, well, for Double G, this was his second Silver Series win in his career, first one since 2020, I do believe. And after the Portland Open last weekend, it had to feel good to just immediately respond, get a
Crazy,
win, and
yeah.
be like, okay. whew.
Such a good bounce back.
Yeah. Now, obviously, the field wasn't as full as the Portland Open.
Yeah, but I mean, you still beat
Because it was a
everybody
Silver Series, but you beat everyone that showed up.
Yeah.
So
Good players
you can't
were there.
argue Simon would have beat him because Simon wasn't there.
I wasn't there.
But Simon would have beat him. I'm just kidding.
That is interesting to think.
That's
that
another tweet for you. Would
if
Simon have beat him?
If Simon would have been there, like he could have gone back to back to back because
back to back.
all you do is
Well,
beat
back to back and then back because it's a half a win. Silver Series.
I know, but it would
Back to back to back.
Winning is winning. It would still feel. It would still feel pretty. Crazy.
No, it still feel electric.
I don't think you can win 2 things in a row and then just like not play the next event. Like I don't think you can do that.
Well, as long as he's in the next
Legally.
Elite Series,
I know, but it won't feel quite the same.
it will.
Not to me.
Okay.
You hear that, Simon?
Sorry, Simon. I know you're spending time with your son. Go ahead.
Yeah, he's a father now, man. He's got different priorities.
I just
You
ignore
wouldn't get
mine.
that.
I just ignore mine.
Jeez. We almost had the moment that we've somewhat been waiting for. It's happened before. We just like Brody brought it up on debate night, and ever since then, I'm just waiting for it to happen. Where because like the field is so tight now that even on like courses with a lot of stroke separation, there seems to be like 8 people in it. And so this year more than ever, it seems like the scenario of someone on chase cards setting the pace is going to happen, where they're in the
Yeah.
clubhouse, you know, and the leader has to catch them, has like 4 strokes with 5 to play to catch them, or like even if it's like 1 stroke back and they have 3 holes left, and so they have to birdie one of the last 3 holes, but like they're beating everyone on their card, and it's like, do they know what they need to do? Blah blah blah. Almost had that. Joel Freeman was on an absolute tangent.
Tangent?
Is that not the right word?
That can't be the right word.
No, that's right.
Yeah.
A tangent is like you go off on a tangent.
Yeah,
Like,
he
yeah,
went
so
off
it's
on a
just like-
birdie tangent.
Yeah, he went off on a tangent.
But it's like I thought it's like a distraction.
Pause from the show.
Like if we started talking about
English.
bagels right now, we'd be like, oh, sorry, went off on a tangent there.
No, a tangent isn't a distraction. A tangent is like a fit.
Tangent
like
is
you're throwing
a tangent is a noun, a straight line or plane that touches a curved curved
not it.
surface.
All right, skip. That's not it. A tangent is like
Adjective,
it's like
touching
having a
but
fit.
not what?
It's not a real word.
Tangent just means a completely different line of thought or action.
Wow, you're
There we go.
right.
There
You're
we go.
right, Trevor.
There we go.
Thank you.
No,
I
yeah,
thought
he
he
was
was just,
going
like,
off on
throwing
a
a fit.
tangent.
A completely different line of thought or action.
Than his previous rounds, yeah. A birdie tangent.
Can't argue with that.
I mean, I think that it can make sense, but I would have to say that probably wasn't
I would've said he
what
went
you
on a
had
tear,
in mind
but-
whenever you said that.
Yeah.
I think this is the word I meant to use.
It doesn't matter. I'd say it plays.
What
it
would
plays.
you
I
have
think
said?
it works.
He
I
went
think
on
it
a
sounds
tear.
right.
A tear?
Yeah, like usually with some. I mean, that's something.
How would you spell that?
I don't even think that's like by definition. I think people just say that in sports.
TARE?
I've never heard
Or
that.
Like
E?
somebody's
They-
tearing it up out there. They went on a tear.
I've never heard someone say they went on a tear,
Pull
but I've
or
also
rip
never
something
sported
apart.
before.
Move very quickly in a reckless or excited manner.
Wow.
So the
A
play
hole-
is
A hole or split in something caused by having it pulled apart.
there's a lot of things
forcefully.
you could say. You could say he went on a hot streak.
Here we go. A brief spell of erratic or unrestrained behavior. A binge or spree. There you go. That
There
would be
you
a
go.
tear.
How about
All
this?
right.
He played really well that round.
So he was on a tangent.
He was
right?
on a tangent, man.
He's on an absolute tangent through
He's
the
on a
first
tangent.
12
He's tearing
holes.
a tangent.
Then he gets to
He tore his tangent.
He gets to hole 13, which is that little island green in
Yeah.
the parking lot. Aces that
Aced
thing.
it. That
have you
was-
seen that video?
I
yet,
have
Konner?
not, but
he
that
aced
sounds
that hole.
awesome.
It
He
was
threw
like
a
the
skip shot.
slowest skip in too.
Yeah, he threw a skip shot off the road, and it skipped
I'm
into the
looking it
basket.
It just kind of like whoop jumps
So at
in.
that point, I think
is
he goes
this?
up by
Joel?
Joel Freeman. Just search Joel Freeman ace. I think he either went up by one
He was
or
within.
tied.
I think he was within one. It got him.
No, he
within
got
one.
the tied at some point.
The cap. Well, that ace got him within one. I'm pretty sure according to the caption that the Pro Tour made.
I was watching it on live, and it doesn't matter. It was
Oh, it
he
matters.
was storming up.
It pulls within one of the lead. 400.
Okay,
foot
so
skip
that
ace.
got him to within one.
Suck it.
But then that's kind of where it stopped. So like I'm watching this and I'm like,
Yeah.
this Joel Freeman's about to do it. Like he's gonna
yeah.
keep going.
I
He's gonna
thought he
set
was
the
gonna
pace.
catch him.
But then he bogeyed the next hole and then kind of like parred out. Like he didn't really have anything exciting happen after that.
Yeah.
So Double G didn't have a super stressful walking in. But it sounds weird, but I'm about to say that ace probably wasn't the wildest thing that happened during the tournament. Because I gotta say,
No.
the wildest moment of the tournament came round 2, hole 15, when Corey Ellis hit a putt, dead
Craziest
center,
thing I've ever seen in my
perfect putt.
Oh my
To your
gosh, this is
turn.
ridiculous.
Now, let's rewind. What I'm about to talk about, if this happened for Worlds, would make disc golf look bad. Okay, back to current
I wasn't
moment.
even gonna bring that up because I just knew it was obvious.
Back to current moment. Corey Ellis makes a putt, and
It's kind of like
it literally-
low side left, but it's like in the basket.
It literally falls out of the bottom of the basket. Like if you haven't
I
seen
could
this,
not even believe what I saw
I'm
because
not-
it just
I'm
looks so
I
unnatural.
don't know how to describe
I've
it.
never
The-
seen
I
it
mean,
before.
the
perfect
disc
putt.
just
It was a
fell.
perfect putt that missed.
yeah, the disc just literally fell out the bottom of the basket, like just straight through it,
Through the hole.
through the hole.
Through the hole of the basket.
It was brought to my attention by a Drew Gibson tweet that said, "Yo, Corey Ellis having his putter fall out the bottom of the target at a DGPT event," and then in all caps, "is the reason I've been begging for a quote unquote tour basket for years now. Hate to be the one, but some targets just aren't good enough or have aged out of being good enough to be competed on. Hashtag do better." That was from Drew.
Thanks, Drew.
I read that and I read Corey Ellis having his putter fall at the bottom of the target, and I said, that's literally not possible. Like I was like, that's literally cannot happen. So like, what are we like? Was it just like a VFX weird
That's
thing?
kind
that
of like the
happened?
whole point of the basket.
Yeah, like that's
to
literally
hold a
all it's
disc.
designed to do. And no, it literally went in and fell out. And the man was brave enough to tap in on the exact spot it fell out. Imagine if that thing would have fallen out again. If he would have placed it and it just dropped straight
I
through.
think what I would have done had that happened to me is I would have just sat there and waited around until somebody told me it could count as a made putt. I would have just sat there and protested the event. I would have protested the event. I would have sat
I would
there
have
under
chained
the
myself
basket.
to the basket.
I would have done it. I would have been like, I'm not moving on until that counts.
Here's the thing.
Because how's
so
that
we've
fair?
discovered since that basket was broken and was then
Fixed.
but
Incorrectly.
incorrectly fixed.
They left too much space.
So like surely it's not PDGA approved at that point,
Can't
right?
be.
Like what's the? We don't know the answer to this, so I'm asking a question that we might have to look this up.
Like, what can you do? to a
Discs have
basket?
very specific
Yeah.
what you can and can't do before they're legal. Does a basket have
I
that?
bet you can't weld on it.
I don't know. Like, is
I don't
there?
know.
Because like it's not something a competitor would do because you're not going to bring out your welding gear.
I just like it is like one thing that has happened that like it just can't be a bad break anymore because it's actual sabotage. Like, how can that putt like not?
I mean,
count?
it still is a bad break technically, but
But it's a bad break, but it was caused by something that was always there. It's not like it was a random thing. It was random,
And
in
it's
the way
not
the
something
putt-
you can plan for.
Well, but
the
it's something that-
yeah,
It's
the,
not
the
like a
basket
tree in
it
didn't
is
the
do
fairway.
something
something. It
random.
is something that all players did putt on that basket. That's the.
When was it fixed? We don't know. What
That's true.
What,
It could have been fixed mid. But
what if it was? What
if it was broken
but what
before?
if
It had to be worse.
What if when it was? Well, what if it wasn't though? What if it was just a little loose or something? Or something? Like,
I'm saying like it was a bad break, but
I'd be throwing
it's a
fit
bad
right
break
now.
that-
if I were Corey Ellis,
the difference to
Court.
me, I would too, because the difference to me is a bad break of you hitting a tree or you whatever still is within the PDGA rules.
yeah, that's
This
what I'm saying.
has
This is
to
a,
be outside the scope
a
of the PDGA
violation.
rules. Like
This
it's got to
is-
be
yeah.
a violation of the rules.
I-
be
I
playing
think-
on the target.
It's
Sorry,
a
Double
basket
G. I think we got to
malfunction.
replay the event.
Well, no, I think, but like Corey Ellis,
Gotta
if
happen.
that putt sticks, ties with Joel Freeman
that's
for
the problem.
second.
Is it's actually relevant
costs
because he's
money.
only one stroke away.
Or how about this? He doesn't lose a ton of momentum because that took the wind out of his sails.
Yeah.
And he might win the whole thing. Like,
Yeah,
it's only
I
round
don't-
two.
Like you're just completely
gonna
baffled
try to
for the
look
rest
at
of the
it.
holes.
Now, what did he
CGA.
finish that round? Because that, I would say the effect would
You
probably,
look that up.
Okay.
I'm gonna look up PDGA.
Because I'm telling you right
basket.
now,
I'm very
if he
interested to
didn't,
hear
if he
it.
didn't like
Yeah.
birdie out after that happened, then like, because that, like, if that happened to you and you're like playing pretty well, and then that happens, all the momentum you ever had.
This goes back to why are there holes in the basket?
Yeah, I don't. I think
Trevor's
it's-
question from a while ago.
Well, yeah.
down on
right.
material?
Okay, admittedly, okay, but it gave him a bogey on the hole.
Yeah, that was a putt for par.
Oh my
He did
gosh.
admittedly go birdie par to finish.
So that's fine.
So at least I don't think it probably took
It didn't
his
really
momentum
slow
away.
momentum down.
However,
He did lose a stroke.
he lost a stroke and he had
Yeah.
a bogey on his card. Like, that's in his statistics now. He loses C1X putting. Like,
That is
that
ridiculous.
sucked. And he is like notably.
Was that Circle 2 or is that
he-
C1X?
He is like typically the guy who's in contention for best C1X percentage. Imagine if he loses and one putt's the difference, and it's the one that fell through the cage.
I'm gonna try to
I'm
find-
with you. That putt has to count.
it-
It has to count.
It will never will, but
It never will now. But like,
I
it
would
should've-
have sat there by that basket and be like, guys,
I just don't know what. Like, I don't know.
If that
what
wasn't
to
on
look up.
coverage-
I think the way that you would have had to do that is you're right. It would have
Let me
messed with
ask you
live
thi-
coverage and everything, but you would have had to just wait for a TD to get there and be like, look, this disc
Yeah.
fits through this basket right
let
here.
me ask you this question, guys. If you're playing a tournament, no coverage, and one of the guys on your card, that happens to him, and he's like, guys, what do you think? Are you letting it count? I would.
Of course.
I would.
I'm going to the TD over it.
Yeah, this
no,
basket
I'll
is
tell
broken.
TD
I
doesn't
think we
have
tell
to
him it's a
know, bro.
provisional. No, you have to go to the TD.
Doesn't have to know.
Because something's got to be done about that
Not if-
hole.
but
Because
not-
not
if
the four of us
if
agree.
there's no coverage, how do you know he's the only one that happened to?
No, yeah, you're right. I would definitely go to the TD.
Even
but
with
I would
coverage, how do we know
I would
Corey Ellis is
fight-
the only one that happened to?
I would
Yeah.
fight for the guy that happened to.
That's what I'm saying.
I'll
I would
say.
make him play a provisional because the bad part is rules wise it doesn't count. Period. It didn't stick.
Street rules.
But it didn't stick because the basket.
It
there's
fell
no way the
through
basket.
the bottom of the basket.
I would basically
yeah.
blackmail
Up to-
the TD and be like, listen, if you don't let this putt count, then this whole tournament's getting investigated. It's
Well,
gonna
no,
will be
that's
sanctions.
I guess that's the question though. Is like what happens? They played a whole tournament with a basket that's not PDGA
stuff like this happens in disc golf all the time.
regulated.
Like where there's probably stuff that gets like there's probably guys throwing discs that aren't PDGA. Like
Sure, but this one we know.
you're right.
Like people who throw
yeah.
discs that are too heavy and it's not.
I want a
caught,
statement.
It's not caught.
I want a statement. Let's all agree we demand a statement.
Well, I'm just saying what like.
Do we demand
what
a statement?
What does the tournament do? Is hole 15 ruled out for everyone?
No,
Like you're playing on a faulty basket.
I don't know.
Is that whole
I
round
want a
ruled out for everyone?
I want a statement
What's the
from the Pro
solution?
Tour. I demand a statement.
Is it from the Pro Tour or is it from the PDGA?
I want to hear from the Pro Tour.
I mean, I think the solution
Both.
now.
I want a collaborative
I think-
statement. They're the official tour of the PDGA, so I want a collaborative
I think the
statement.
solution now is to make more guidelines on it. But
But I think there are guidelines. I think that
On
what
the
needs
basket?
did you
there
find?
is.
Yeah, did you find any?
Well,
'Cause that would
I
be
can
really-
find, like,
I really want to know about
The
that.
solution.
well the definition
like-
of a target.
I would
is
say like the
to
solution
catch it
is
in a
like
basket.
here would be like a good solution, Connor. Like when you weld a basket and you know you're fixing it, probably like see if the disc sits in it still.
Yeah, like maybe like take it.
Maybe, like, try
just
and
take an
fit it
average
through.
putter and just like stick it through every hole.
Imagine welding, like fixing a basket clearly to where there was a chance that could have happened and not testing it out. Like, what are we doing? Was the metal still hot? like
There's
I
a
would be
target
trying to.
certification request form.
Or what if? Get this. What if they did test it when the metal was still warm and
here we
it
go,
wedged
here we
it
go.
open a little bit when they were trying to
The
wedge a disc through it?
maximum
That
open
is
length.
impossible.
Think about that.
That's impossible.
The maximum open
It would
length.
melt the plastic way before it bent the metal.
No. It wouldn't be touching the joints where it welded on potentially.
The maximum open.
That's
The maximum open length allowed in sides and bottom is 18 centimeter for a championship target, and 21 centimeter for standard and basic targets. It is measured in any direction to minimize the chance of a disc striking inside or bottom of the basket. So what's 18 centimeters to inches?
us Americans. I'd be like
Put that baby in
7.7
standard.
inches.
7.08 inches.
Holy cow.
So basically,
that would have been crazy.
that would have been crazy. So 7.1 inches.
Dang it.
So there's no chance a disc can fit through.
That's
Never.
diagonally?
Minimum required.
Because it went through
It
diagonally.
would have to be. That's like maximum
that's
open
inside
space.
depth. Oh no, that's the gap. That's the gap right there.
Oh.
Yeah, that's the gap. Maximum open length allowed in sides and bottom. So basically, a disc can't go in through the front without folding, which is true, and can't go through the bottom. So like what the thing is though, it doesn't say like what happens when an event's played.
This is new territory. I mean, that's never happened. Like probably ever in the history of competitive disc golf has anybody had their putter fall through the bottom of the basket. It is so feasible to imagine like, oh my gosh, somebody threw a hard putt and it went through the side. Like I wouldn't have been like completely bamboozled.
Yeah.
But watching a disc just plop its little way through the bottom.
It didn't even
of the
look like a
basket.
soft putter. Like if it was a really soft putter, I'd be
It
like,
just-
okay,
no,
play,
it slid
play
through
stupid
there. It
games,
just
win
felt-
stupid prizes. But like
Yeah.
he putted with a normal putter and it fell out the bottom of the basket. Like
After,
if you're
like,
putting with a
slowing down,
blow
there was
fly or
literally-
something and it falls out the bottom, okay.
But
There's
that's
literally not a
the basket's
single
fault.
amount of fault on him.
No,
Not a
like there's nothing he
single
could have
bit.
done. There's nothing he made a putt.
It was
and it went
so
into the
wild.
basket.
He put it a Hunter Thomas putt.
He waved to
actually.
the crowd because people clapped, and then he looked forward and it was on the ground, and he said,
"What happened?
What happened?"
I wish I
like
could-
imagine being the card bait that has to be like, dude, I promise you, it fell out the bottom of the basket.
He's like, what bullcrap, dude? Like he
I
like,
wish
he
I
picked it
could
up
have
and
dropped
dropped
it.
I wish I could go and like be in that moment because I can't imagine like you would think you were in some kind of dream if you watched it hit the bottom of the basket and then looked up and saw it on the ground. Like you would,
I'd be
his
like-
brain had to be scrambled.
You could probably cut the
I'd be like,
confusion
dude,
in
it
the air
must
with
have
a
like
knife.
went out the back and like.
I would have.
so
I would have walked over
the
to the
final
cameraman and be like,
thing-
"You better show me that right now."
That's
final-
not a spit out. That's a poop out.
Yeah, honestly.
Poop out. I like
The
that.
final thing, it says this target will be legal for all other PDGA sanctioned events once it's approved and the testing fee is paid. If the target fails to pass one or the more of the PDGA tests, I understand a new target certification and additional testing fee will be required. So it doesn't really say like once it's approved if someone modifies your basket before an event.
The approval process is whack, anyways, because like for discs, they approve them before they're even made. So like they can.
Well, but a basket you have to
they're
send
never
to them.
right, but then like they're never reapproved after the prototype.
I don't know,
So it's like.
but I'm just saying
you
like
do
they
whatever you want.
where something's got to happen. Like you can't.
want a
you
statement.
Can't have, you can't have people because like what if I just bought 18 baskets for my course that are Prodigy
Are those-
PDGA
are
approved,
those-
and then I just removed the whole bottom webbing and like
Yeah.
discs just started falling out left and right.
At Beaver State, where those were
Chaos.
those were disc catchers, right?
They looked like it.
If I were Innova, I would be scrambling to like make sure that the info about the
Yeah, if I was Innova, I'm posting
I would
like
Because it's not
we've-
necessarily Innova's fault.
We've done an
No,
internal investigation
no.
and discovered that so and so modified the basket that is in question. We were sending them a
Oh,
new
yeah.
basket to replace.
I
Blah
would-
blah blah.
Yeah.
I would- you got to
definitely-
do something.
I would
Yeah.
definitely because like people would be like, "Well, I'm never buying that basket." What is
Yeah.
that?
If you haven't seen that, you got to look it up. It's chaotic. And the final storyline I've got from Beaver State Fling is more so apparently something's been going on for the whole Silver Series. I just haven't really noticed it until this one because I think this was the most egregious. And typically when I go to watch coverage for post-produce for Silver Series, I'm watching it late enough that I haven't noticed when it came out. But Saturday night, I've been like working on our nursery all day, doing all this stuff. I sit down. My wife's like, "Hey, I'm gonna go." I forget if she was like laying down or taking a bath or what. She was doing something to where I was like, "I've got time to watch post-produce coverage. I got time to watch round 1 coverage of Beaver State Fling. This would be great." I sit down. It's like 8:30 or 9 o'clock at night on Saturday night. The round happened Friday, so I sit down. Now, granted, this is Eastern time, so like 6 o'clock Pacific on Saturday. And so I sit down. I'm like, time to watch some disc golf. I search. I find the FPO coverage immediately. And I'm like, okay, so it's on YouTube. FPO that came up quick. It's got to be on the Disc Golf Pro Tour, the MPO coverage. Click Disc Golf Pro Tour YouTube channel, nothing there. Like, weird. Maybe like they're trying to grow FPO, so they put that for free on YouTube, but MPO they kept behind the paywall.
Yeah.
Went to over to Disc Golf Network.
Nothing.
Only FPO there. No MPO. I'm like, what the heck? So I tweet about it thinking I'm just going to get a response of like, here's the link. I'm just an idiot. I can't find it. Or I thought maybe Gatekeeper or Joe Mez or someone was out there. So I checked their channels. Nothing.
Right.
And no, they just hadn't posted it yet. So it got posted. Round 1 coverage got posted a few hours before the round 3 live coverage started.
Yeah.
And then the round 2 coverage got posted. It said like 16 hours ago at 8 this morning, which would be 12 hours ago, would be 8 p.m. to 4 p.m. So it got posted about 2 hours before. So technically you could have sat down and watched round 1 and 2 post-produced prior to the live coverage starting. But like, I don't know what happened with round 1, and I'm not really going to hold too much against them over how late round 1's post-produced coverage came out, because round 2's post-produced came out at like about the time you would expect before the round started. But I did notice on Twitter, a lot of people were replying. They're like, oh, so is this your first Silver Series of the year? Because like apparently that's an ongoing thing people are complaining about.
With the
is
Silver
how
Series.
long, because the Pro Tour is doing their own post-produced.
Yeah. They're just slow at
If
it.
you want to do your own post-produce, like, that's fine. It is what it is. It makes sense for Silver Series. I don't super care.
Yeah.
But if you're going to, because like people still want to watch Silver Series events. There's a lot of big names still there. They're like, it's not a full-on Elite Series event, but it's still a Pro Tour event. Your name's still tied to it, and there's still a lot of good names and great disc golf going down. People still want to watch that. So if you're going to produce it in-house, because I'm sure if Jomez is like, no, we don't want to do Silver Series, I'm sure Gatekeeper or GK Pro or Central Coast, someone wants to cover it. So if you're saying, no, we're covering feature card on our own, you got to be up to snuff with the industry standard.
Yeah.
Which is that thing's going to be out at 9 a.m. the next morning.
They need a system for that.
Yeah. So I don't know what's exactly going on, but like if you're doing your own post-produce as the Pro Tour, that's fine. Is what it is. Not a big deal. The actual coverage of it, fully adequate. Nothing wrong with it. But you got to get it out.
Because I haven't watched I usually don't watch the disc golf post-produce, but they just keep the coverage or the commentary from the broadcast, or do they add new commentary?
There's no broadcast for Silver Series. And there's no post-produce for
That's right.
Elite Series.
But no, for like the last round.
The final round, I think their post-produced team is Nathan Queen and Ian Anderson, I'm pretty sure.
So they are adding commentary.
Yeah, it's fully post-produced.
So what I'm saying is, I mean, this is just me, and I've kind of always been this way with disc golf coverage, because the commentary is always like whatever to me. I would sooner just have them release it without commentary.
Well, if commentary is what's holding it up.
Yeah, that's what. Well, it has to be.
You think?
Well, as far as like, okay, so like you finish the round, it's late, like that would be that to me. That seems like the hardest logistic to control, because if it's just cutting it together, that's just a matter of time. But now, if you have commentary, that's a matter of getting people where you need them as well.
No, I'm sure they're doing it remote.
Right, getting them to need them. Like, we need you at this time to do commentary. Like, imagine.
I would imagine that's the easiest piece of the puzzle, in my head.
But that's the only one that requires other people to depend on, other than just your editor. Yeah,
but I'm saying, like, in my head, you set that deadline of like this time at night or this time in the morning. Do that, export it. Takes another. Let's just be generous. Say it takes 45 minutes to export, then it's going up.
I'm just saying.
And you do the front nine, back nine. I think that their workflow must suck, because what Jomez is doing,
I don't doubt it,
is Jomez has a runner that front nine is done being filmed. That SD card of all the cameras is to their editors, and they're already editing the front nine while the back nine's happening.
Yeah.
And then as soon as the back nine's over, that's getting ran. They're already editing the back nine. So then that night, Germ, Nate, Yuli, Germ, whoever rolls up, it's already, the rough cut's already edited. Mm-hmm. They might have like graphics or something to put over. I don't know what they're doing commentary on, but I'm pretty sure it's basically the final product. Commentate, boom, up the next morning.
Yeah, well,
Jomez has been able to do it.
That's the difference between somebody that has been doing this for a decade.
But that's what I'm saying, is if you're going to make it where they're not doing that, they're not putting that product out, the product you put out has to be equally as good.
I agree.
Maybe not coverage-wise, like graphics, stuff like that. That can suffer slightly, sure. Camera quality, sure. As long as you can see the discs and you know where the scores are, that's fine for Silver Series. But the timeline, if you're not letting anyone else take it, you got to be able to do what they do. Because like Gatekeeper is the same type of way. Their coverage is up quick. GK Pro, I'm pretty sure, wanted to get FPO up the same day earlier in the year.
Yeah.
And they were told no because of live, obviously. But like if people are wanting to like, hey, we can literally turn this around the same day, then if it's the commentary, get 2 other commentators.
Yeah.
That you can do it whenever.
Yeah, I mean, they just have to figure it out.
But I'm just saying, like, that, I was pretty surprised by that, and it seemed like people on Twitter have been frustrated with it.
I'd be curious to know,
all
like,
year.
I'd be curious to know, because if it was just a one-time thing, I would be able to sit here and just be like, well, something weird probably.
Well, I think the Saturday night was a one-time thing where it wasn't up by then, but to have it up the next day, like mid to late afternoon, I still feel like it's a little too late. Because then the next round's about to happen.
I mean, it's not ideal. Definitely not ideal.
So especially mainly because you're doing live coverage the final day.
Yes.
If you're not doing live coverage the final day, basically as long as the coverage is out at some point the next day, that's all that matters.
Yeah. No,
but
I agree.
when you're doing live coverage the final day, you want that product out so that as many people can watch it. Because like the final coverage, if I would have woke up Sunday morning and been able to watch it at like 7 or 8 in the morning of round 2, I would have watched round 2. But what happened was round 1 didn't come out when I wanted to. Round 1 finally comes out. I can watch round 1, and then round 3 is about to happen.
Right.
I'm never watching round 2.
Right.
Now, thankfully for them, that means that there was a chance no one was going to see what happened to Corey Ellis. Mm-hmm. Now we all have. But still, like if it wasn't for Drew's tweet, I would have never seen that putt fall out the basket. Because live coverage happened, and before live coverage happened, FPO live coverage was going on. That's when round 2 dropped. There was no chance I was ever watching round 2. Because if I was turning on the TV, I'm like, I want to watch disc golf. And there's live FPO coverage on. I'm not choosing post-produced round 2. I want to watch what's going on live, especially Valerie was chasing down Cat at that time.
Sure.
I don't know. The final piece of talking point before we get into Trevor's trivia is the pools for the Disc Golf Pro Tour Match Play Championship have been announced. The Match Play Championship is going on this weekend in Bailey, Colorado, I do believe. Is that the same place it happened last year? I think so. I believe so, because I think it was like the Discmania design.
I believe it was in Colorado. Is it the same course? Because I thought people didn't like the course.
I'm not sure. I don't.
Only a 12-hole course.
Do not quiz me on the course because all I know is the pools and who's not showing up.
Remember Eagle threw that giant shot down the hill? And
yeah,
it
was
like,
insane.
Whoa.
It was wild. So how they're doing it this year is there's 4 different pools. Each player will play a 12-hole match against all 3 other players in their pool, and the winner of each pool will advance to the final 4. I would assume the final 4 is going to be the same type of way. They haven't really said what the final 4 is going to say.
Probably just bracket by seed, I imagine.
Yeah, maybe. That might have been in the article. I didn't look too much into that, but for round 1, essentially, like the top pool A is seed 1, 8, 9, and 16, and they're each going to play a 12-hole match against each other. So it'll take up 36 holes, 2 rounds of disc golf, and then if you win your match, 3 points, a tie is 1 point. Whoever has the most points after the 36 holes will advance to the final 4.
I think I can't, just looking at this format initially, it seems to me very fun, very, very new and cool. I like the idea of having to play out of your pool. I think that's fun. The only thing I'll say is it's heavier. It's more of a commitment to a golfer who is going to it. So I wonder if that has something to do with what we'll talk about next, which is the absentees.
Yeah. So Match Play Championship, it's obviously it's an extra event. What are they called? Starts with an E.
An exhibition.
Exhibition event.
Yeah. Not
super serious. There is a decent amount of money on the line, I'd assume. I could not really find that much.
It took them $10K
last year. The winner took them $10,000. So pretty much like winning a pro tour or better. So there's a decent bit of money on the line. I think everyone that shows up gets paid. So assuming they kept everything from last year the same, that's going to still be true. But most of the top names aren't showing up. So on FPO, let me just list who's not going to be there. On FPO, Kristen Tatar, Paige Pierce, Katrina Allen, and then Jessica Weiss and Kona Panis are not attending. But the big 3, Kristen, Paige, Kat, are not attending, which leaves Valerie. Luckily, Val's the hot hand coming into this, so that she's at least there. She's now the 1 seed, but numbers 1, 2, and 3 aren't there. So immediately makes this event less interesting on FPO because you don't have Paige, Kat, or Kristen. So that sucks. And then on MPO, the players not showing up are Ricky, Chris, Paul, Drew, Matteo, and then Emerson, Chris, Corey Ellis, Thomas Gilbert, Casey White. But the big ones, Ricky, Chris Dickerson, Paul Macbeth, Drew Gibson, Matteo.
Yeah.
Without those guys there, yes, this is still an electric field. You still have Calvin Heimberg, Gannon Burr, James Conrad, Joel Freeman. But when you're missing Ricky, Chris, and Paul, really, those 3, that's a big 3 draw.
Yeah, I think, with an exhibition event like this, there's only one way to get players to care, and that's money. And clearly, whatever they were told, it wasn't enough.
Let me see if I can find the money.
I just think it's kind of embarrassing, honestly, as the Pro Tour to put effort into an event and then just have players not care. And it probably feels like a little bit of a waste of their time.
Yeah.
Because that's just embarrassing, really.
Where are these pools announced? Is my question.
They still have a decent
Match Play Championship.
decent field, but you don't have a lot of the fan favorite players there.
That's what I'm saying. And like especially that FPO losing all those top players.
Yeah.
You gotta make the winner take home probably like $20K if you're gonna get the big dogs out there, because like guess what? They make a lot of money now.
I mean, they
Some of those
honestly
bigger
should just
players.
do, instead of everybody that comes gets paid, they should just make the prize bigger.
So it doesn't. I don't see the prize.
You might lose more people if you do that.
Yeah, if you do that, you're gonna lose some of the lower end.
Well, yeah, you'll lose the lower end, but you'll get the people that people want to see.
Yeah, I don't know what they're.
Well,
there might
I
be
guess
some,
the question is like, if the money was the reason, the players are like, nah, I don't care. Then if you're like Ricky, Paul, Paige, Kat, Kristen, who are all getting paid very, very well, at what point do they care? Because if it's 10,000 on the line and they're like, meh, then is the Pro Tour gonna have to go to 20? And if you go to 20, then it's like, why are we getting the winner for a match play event $20,000 when our winners from our Pro Tours are getting like 8 to 10?
Yeah, and no manufacturer is going to be upset at their players for not going to this because it's it's not.
Yeah, it is. It's a very tricky event to put on. You have the only way, and it's tough. It's such a hard one because the only way this event is going to get traction without the money is prestige, and you're not going to get prestige if you never get the players there in the first place. So it makes it very
it's a cool
difficult.
idea.
It does sound
would be fun.
The 4 that advanced will be bracket play, but I don't see money. I don't see how much money it is going to be. So
Well, I don't see it. It's presented by Discmania, but there's no big presenting sponsor behind it. So
no, but last year it was just Discmania, and they did the 10K to the winners.
But that's I guess like 10K isn't enough. I guess it's an interesting one.
It's an interesting one.
I wish people
for
were
the
showing up,
PGA
but-
Tour when they have like their exhibition things.
Well,
I guess a lot of times they do it around events.
the big match play on the PGA Tour is the WGC Dell match play event, and it's part of a large. We're talking about a lot more money.
Yeah,
obviously.
But I'm saying, like, is there like a different requirement that makes people be there?
You qualify based on your world golf ranking.
But I'm saying, are players required to be there?
Oh, well, no, you're never required.
I think that I'd be curious what this list would look like if instead of Bailey, Colorado, it was at the location of the next Pro Tour event.
Yes.
So like it's Saturday, Sunday at the Preserve.
And honestly, Hunter, I think
to where like players are going to be showing up Monday anyways. They're like, I could go 2 days early and win $10,000.
And this is what
that would make sense.
Is this a 3-day event I'm seeing, or is it 2-day?
I believe 2. It should just be Saturday. You get out of pool play, and then Sunday.
Because I'm saying, like, I think the best way to do this is to do it at or near the next event and make it as quick as possible. So like, it's exciting, but like the players aren't having to commit.
I think the format's okay.
Yeah.
Well, it's a cool
You
format.
might have
but
three.
you're
going to have 3 rounds of disc golf.
It's a big time commitment. So if players aren't going to be able to consider it like a normal tournament, then they're not going to commit that time to it.
I think the biggest issue is that it's in Bailey, Colorado.
That doesn't help.
I think if it was,
it sounds like it's probably just a lot of things stacked on top of it.
I think if it was the exact same thing within an hour drive of the Preserve, which is the next Pro Tour event, I think a lot of these players are showing up. Now, some of them, Kristen's not coming back from Europe just to play that.
Right.
Ricky, he's planning on returning at the Preserve. It'd be iffy if he's coming out with his knee.
Yeah.
Chris, I don't think he's going to be at the Preserve. I think he's coming back at D-Glow, I believe. So Chris wasn't showing up anyways. But then you have like Paul, Paige, Kat are the big 3 in my head. And, obviously Drew and Matty O. But Paul, Paige, Kat, if you get those 3, this event feels a lot bigger. It's still going to be exciting, and we're going to quickly pick who we think's coming out of each pool. So I'll read a pool, and then each of us say who you think's coming out.
This is gonna be real simple for the FBO.
So you have Pool A: Valerie Mandujano, Emily Beach, Maria Oliva, and Vanessa Van Dyken. Konner?
I think that Val is the obvious
it's
answer.
gotta be Mandujano. Pool B, we have Missy Gannon, Alexis Mandujano, Holland Hanley, and Rebecca Cox. I think Alexis is coming out of this pool.
She actually for this one you're right. She could, but I still will take
Missy, Alexis,
I'll take
Konner.
Missy.
I still feel like Missy makes the most sense.
Okay, so Missy, Alexis.
This is where it gets interesting.
Pool C, we have Kat Mersch, Owen Scoggins, Lisa Fakis, and Haley King.
The fact that Haley King is that far down
Haley
there,
King's 14.
she has been.
What?
I feel
irrelevant
like match play Haley King could do well.
I'll take Owen Scoggins.
I'll take Haley King.
I'll take Owen.
Haley King
has been not good this year. Like,
Yeah,
I haven't heard
but
her name in so long.
You're right. She has all the potential to do well with match play, though. She doesn't have to. With match play, she doesn't
I'll go
have
Kat
to.
Mersch.
With match play, she doesn't have to feel the consequences of her mistakes.
I'll go Kat Mersch. Well, just that we have 3 different. But that pool
She's
is
talented.
electric. Pool D, we have Ella Hansen, Sarah Hokum, Natalie Ryan, and Jennifer Allen.
That's kind of a stacked pool, huh?
Wait, say it again.
Ella Hansen, Sarah
take Hokum
Hokum,
out of there.
Natalie Ryan, and Jennifer Allen.
Hokum's been good. She was.
I feel like it's going to be Ella Hansen or Natalie Ryan.
I think
I like
Ella
it.
It's on a
Hansen.
golf course, right?
Good point. I
I just don't think Sarah Hokum.
I like Hokum. She
I'm
won.
going
She
Ella
wanted.
Ella Hansen just booms the disc. She throws so
She
far.
booms the disc.
Sarah
She
just
just
won a
booms the
golf
disc.
course.
She did. You're right.
Take that.
I'm going Ella
There you
Hansen. And we won't say. Well, do you want to say your overall winner,
Nah.
or just leave it on final
I mean,
four?
I bet Val will win. Like she's the best.
So we do
player.
want to say her overall.
She's the
winner.
best player in that field. Like
I'm saying Alexis takes it to her. Alexis Manhattan.
I mean, if we get an Alexis
Wow.
versus Val match play,
that'd be sick.
That'd be sick. Yeah.
Well, they're going to meet in the final four in this scenario.
because it's it.
Well,
That
I guess
would-
it
now
depends
that
on who
would be
else
fun
comes
to
out.
watch.
It depends on who else comes out. If Lisa or Haley and Natalie Ryan or Jennifer Allen come out, then we wouldn't. But
Yeah,
if any of the other ones,
Yeah, because if you come out of the pool play and you're the highest seed, it's who you're going to play Val. If she can, yeah, okay.
yeah. So
That'd be sick, though.
That would be
I don't
cool.
know. I think Alexis Manhattan takes it down.
All
I think
right.
she sticks it to her
I
sister.
mean, that'd be pretty sweet. You know what,
What are
Hunter?
you
I would
saying?
never bet against you. Not in a million years.
This
Yeah.
one you'd be smartest to bet
you
against me. But I
have
just-
a pretty good track record this season. So
Yeah, Hunter.
But I
is-
also have a bad track record.
no.
No,
Not-
dude.
We only remember the good
No,
ones.
dude.
I don't know all the ones with consequences. You do
Consequences,
really,
but there's no
yeah.
consequences on this one.
You're
Let's
right.
put a
Never mind.
consequence on
You're
it.
right.
Then I'm
You're a
not picking
dummy.
Alexis. That's
If
why.
Alexis doesn't win,
My gut isn't
you have
strong
to
enough
get
towards
in
Alexis.
your pool, and then we are going to shock you.
Okay. No. MPO pool. We'll do the same
a
thing
little-
quickly. We have Calvin Heimberg, Aaron Gossage, Mason Ford, Anthony Barella. Pool A.
Calvin Heimberg.
These are like impossible, but yeah.
I'm going Mason Ford.
I'm taking AB all day.
Of course you are. Of
He's
course
been
you are.
good.
He's the
been
16
good.
seed. He's
Yeah,
the
but
worst seed.
but he's been good lately. You- he has like just at Beaver
has.
State, he was doing pretty
All
well.
right. Pool B, we have Gannon Burr, Simon Lazat, Ezra Aderhold, and Jeremy Cole.
Wow, now that is electric.
Simon all day. I've got to.
I'm going Gannon Burr. Mr. Ice in his
I'm gonna
veins.
take
Ice in his
Simon.
veins. Ice in his vein.
You were very.
All right. I'm gonna take
That was
Simon.
good.
I'm gonna take Simon. Don't gas him up.
Don't gas me
You'll
up. I'll
keep
do
going.
it again.
Yeah.
Dude, I want you to do it again.
Pool C, we have James Conrad.
Say all these names in a Bane
No,
voice.
James Conrad, Nico LaCastro, Kyle Klein, and Alden Harris.
Going with that.
I wanna say
that
Nico
wild
so
card.
bad.
Nico LaCastro. You can't beat that guy in match play. The
No,
intimidation factor.
And
is
you
off
can't
the-
beat him in
James
a ring.
Conrad. James What?
I said, and you can't beat him in a ring.
No. James Conrad. That dude's not intimidated by anything.
Yeah, he's intimidated by Nico, dude.
So, okay, and then who
Nico,
do
please
you
come
have?
on my show.
I said Nico before Trevor said it. Let the record
Oh,
show.
so you copied.
is that right?
You copied Copycat Connor.
No, I said it first.
That's not true.
Play back the footage. You'll see.
Copycat Connor. If you don't know what
Copycat-
Copycat Connor is, you need to be a
Stop.
Patreon.
You're hurting my feelings. I've made that clear.
You need to be a Patreon. To
If there's
understand.
one thing I know about
I'll go to a black
dude,
screen. You're on a black screen right now.
Hey, dude, bring you back.
production value. People are gonna
Sorry,
leave the
technical
video.
difficulties. Pool D, we have Joel Freeman, Kevin Jones, Luke Humphreys, and Chandler the Chanimal Fry.
Luke Humphries really fell off after those first few events. We thought he was goated.
What? Did we remember that?
Yeah, I'm gonna take Luke Humphries.
Did Luke Humphreys win a tournament?
No.
I think you mean Luke Sampson.
Yes. No.
No.
Almost won.
Drew Gibson won Vegas, and then
Did
Luke
he-
Humphreys popped off at
he almost-
Waco.
he almost
but someone
won.
else won Waco. Surely.
He almost won something.
He
Trevor,
almost
you're
won
thinking about
two.
Luke Sampson.
no,
Got
this
him.
time I've got it down.
What were
No.
the options? What were the options in this list?
Luke Humphreys is the only option you need. No.
Joel Freeman, Kevin Jones,
Joel
and
Freeman,
Chandler
Kevin
Fry.
Jones, Chandler Fry, Luke Humphreys.
Isn't it so funny? Like a year ago, you show us that list, we're like, oh, yeah, KJ all the way.
Yeah.
And this year, it's like,
I don't know. Match play might be
Joel
his
Freeman's
thing.
kind of Joel Freeman's
Okay.
kicks all those guys' butts.
Luke
this year.
Humphreys went fourth at Vegas, second at Waco, and then he's went at other majors or elite series. He's went 45th, 44th, 31st, 30th, 53rd, 69th.
That's disappointing.
That's sad.
All right, never mind. I'm taking Joel Freeman.
I'm going KJ.
I'm
going
going.
I'm going with Joel the Thrill.
KJ USA.
Joel Freeman, especially if he wears a strawberry shirt.
But what if he doesn't?
Then I'll go Kevin Jones.
Strawberry shirt Joel is not. something
What
we're
if Kevin
playing
Jones
against.
wears a strawberry shirt?
Joel all day.
Oh, Joel all day. All day, Joel.
Now, if KJ DJ shows up with his DJ KJ shows up with his headphones still on from
Yeah.
the set the night before, no one touches him.
Round.
What if that
one,
becomes his
front
new thing?
nine.
Like he's just out there playing disc golf with cans on. That'd be. I mean,
round
Soup
one,
cans.
front
soup
nine.
cans.
All right, it's time
Is
for
that
the
what you
fan
call 'em,
favorite
cans?
segment. Trevor.
Yeah, that's what you call like
Music world?
over ear headphones would be a cans.
Trivia.
That's so fun.
Trevor's trivia.
Okay, guys.
Hunter, let me first say, it is so good to have you back on Grip Locked. Man, we were falling apart last week.
Yeah.
At least that's what the comments
I
said.
I saw some comments. I don't know. I expected the comments to want me to never be back on Grip Locked, and there was a lot of them. There was a lot of them.
Really?
Yeah.
Here's the thing that people need to understand is that we have done this show like 115 times, and that was only the second time ever that we had to do it without Hunter. So, like, it's not something that we are very good
I guess
at
we just didn't
improvising.
really realize that he brings all the info.
Well, we did. I think we realized it. We just, like,
I think I
didn't think it'd be as big of
I'll
a
tell
deal.
you the actual number of Grip Locked episodes. Because we started counting, our 115 is since Trevor's been here.
Yeah, but that's like what I was in context. That's what I was talking about.
No, I'm going to see how many I've done.
Okay.
Hunter
is very important and valuable, and don't be mean to him.
Hunter, yesterday. Not yesterday.
fully
I don't know
true,
why I said that. Hunter, on Grip Locked last time, Trevor was like, all right, it's time for the fan favorite. You know, I don't feel like it's okay for me to say fan favorite segment, so Konner, can you say it?
I didn't even
funny.
start saying it.
It's funny. What?
So I didn't even start saying it.
Oh, like, I'm sorry for
Grip Locked-
misleading.
That's called blasphemy.
104. We're on episode 144 of Grip Locked.
Wow.
So I've done 142 Grip Locked episodes.
Wow.
Wow, you're
Something
goes.
about-
You're
Drop the mic. You can't. You're not even holding it.
We're playing everybody's favorite game on the favorite segment, and that's The Price is Right.
Yes.
Dun, 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 dun.
But it's on disc golf baskets.
Imagine it is actually.
Wow.
Imagine
$90.
all the
It's on
people.
Silas's used flippy
that's
disc golf
copyrighted,
shirts
man.
that he's selling.
What? Silas is selling used disc golf shirts?
I was
Silas.
joking. I was joking that he was
Okay,
selling his
never mind,
flippy disc
Silas.
golf shirts.
You can stay over there.
Just jokes. Just
He's
jokes.
not,
Okay.
he's not even here today.
You know the rules.
He's not even here today.
I will tell you that I'll give you a range
Wow, this is
like I
hard.
did last time because it makes it a little easier for y'all. So you're not just like, I don't know, is that $1,000? Everything is within 250. And everything's between 50 and 250.
Everything's between
Okay.
50 and 250.
Nothing outside of that range.
Nothing outside.
Number one disc here is a Brody Get Freaky Zone OG.
thought you said baskets. Okay.
OG
Discs.
pink OG, brand new. Get Freaky.
I'm going to say
Recent sell, very recent. All this is very recent.
$150.
I'm going 190.
$65.
Ooh.
Dang, Brody.
I mean, that's
better
not
start
bad.
playing better.
It's still a $65 disc.
Brody, you better start playing better, man. Your market value is tanking right now.
It's because it's pink. If it was one of the black ones, it'd be
So
expensive.
let me.
Not a good time to sell your Get Freaky.
So does that mean that I
Hunter's
win?
at 125 right now. What did you say? You said
Conner said
150.
I said 150.
150.
So it's still right there. Still a
Connor's
rat
at
race.
80.
We're still just a bunch of
85.
rats racing.
All right. The next disc is a Discmania Sky God 2, which was in swirly S line.
Sky God 4 just got
It was in
announced.
swirly S line plastic P2.
When did
It's
this
lightly
sell?
used.
When did this
This is
sell?
all very, very recent.
I think I know exactly how much it is. Go ahead.
I'm going.
So this is swirly S line, slightly used.
I don't know,
Sky
but
God
then-
2.
I'm going
You think you-
120.
Oh, no way. I was literally going to say 120.
But you can't now. I said it.
I'm going to go 160. Stay close, but I think it might be a little more possibly.
$70.
Get legit.
That made me so upset just then.
Is that what you do when you get really upset? You just tense up.
What did you say, Connor? 160.
160.
That was your chance to say 75.
Okay, we're still right there next to each other.
That
That was my chance to say. Oh, okay.
You guys are actually tied. 175, 175.
I mean, we gotta,
How did we
stop
do that?
All right,
we
we've
do
got
that?
the next. We have a pair, so two black Proto Lunas, brand new. So they have the Proto bar stamp on there, black with the gold stamp.
How many pairs though?
Just one pair, brand new.
If it was an apple, it'd go for a little more.
Pretty sick.
I'm not a big fan of pears. I think they're just like
I don't
gross
know every-
apples.
Pears are delicious.
I think they're just like gross
They're one of
apples.
my favorite
stop
fruits.
deflecting. Your turn.
They're not gross apples. They're amazing. And
So
shut your
black
mouth.
Proto Lunas.
If you like pears, tell
Are
Connor
they
you
lightly
hate
used or are they
no,
new?
brand new. In a
brand
bag, like they're-
spanky new.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go 175.
I'm gonna go 115.
$160.
Ooh, I was
Dang,
close.
you
I
were
was
close.
close.
You have me by 30 now, I believe.
It's every single guess. I'm like, this is it. But then there's always that moment where it's like you could be 100 off.
Yeah, I've got
and-
no clue.
Okay.
I'm
it makes me
saying-
feel better whenever.
I'm saying the first. I mean, you're beating me. I'm just saying the first number that comes to mind.
All right.
All right. Let's see.
225.
Oh my gosh. The next one we have is a Yeti Glow Pro AVR Air Force Team Stamp, brand new. Glow Pro AVR Air Force Team Stamp. Yeti Pro.
62.
I was gonna say $53.
Why are you making this hard on math? It is $120.
No,
darn toot.
why?
Darn toot. I mean, I think that's cool.
I don't want that disc.
I just didn't think anybody else would think it's cool. Did it sell?
Yeah, these are all sold. I would never do listed items. That would be very inaccurate.
My bad.
Don't ever insult me like that again, is what I'm basically trying to say.
This wouldn't be the fan favorite segment if he did listed items.
You're right. You're right.
67 plus.
I really, really did not expect that one to go for very much.
I didn't either.
Sneaky.
I thought this was 450.
I feel like it's valuable. The Air Force stamp, anything with that is cool.
You got to. It's a
I
niche
thought it was
disc.
until
And it's a glow Yeti.
Sometimes
Until-
you have a niche disc like that, then every Yeti collector guy out there is going to want it.
Yeah.
Is there a lot out there?
If it's specific enough, though, I'm just saying like that's.
I walked into a store in Illinois once, and they just had stock all over the wall of the Air Force stamp. And I said, I
That's-
thought this was so much more rare.
What? Where?
I bought a Leopard 3 and a Shrike
I would have bought
that
everything.
had the Innova Air Force stamp.
Okay, next we have a
Still a cool
brand new Cloudbreaker 1.
Cloudbreaker 1.
Brand new.
Is that the
The original
the
Cloudbreaker
OG
1.
one?
Yep.
Man, this is recently sold, so the
Yeah.
hype's kind of died down. Connor's a me or you?
140.
160.
$130.
Gosh.
Do you hear that? What is Do you hear that?
So so it like basically went for as much as the Yeti Aviar.
Yep. There's some perspective for you. All right, two more.
That
We have
doesn't
two
really
more.
mean
How much do I need to make up here?
You're down by like 40.
A billion or
40.
something?
Okay, so I
That's
need to be,
not.
I need to
40's
be
not very
Next
much.
we
20
have
in the right
So
direction.
you go first on this one.
Next we have a brand new CE Eagle. Brand new.
$75.
$90.
$150.
Dang it!
You guys you've been looking at CE plastic. You know
Yeah.
brand new stuff is
I don't
expensive.
like how you're getting
Not
mad
always.
at me right now.
Not
if it's an
always.
Eagle or a T-Bird, it is.
You're right. I should have heard Eagle and known it was more. Because I know that sometimes CE discs are less than you think, but an Eagle, I mean, that's like
See, to me,
the CE
when I
disc,
hear
feel
when I
like.
hear CE Eagle, I don't get excited. When I hear CE T-Bird, CE Firebird, CE Rock, I'm like, oh,
Well, you don't. Throw
But
the-
I feel like
you
CE
don't throw the
Eagle
I've never
is
thrown an
like.
Eagle once.
I feel like a CE Eagle is like
it's
the
incredible.
CE disc because the Eagle was big back
What
then.
did you say, Connor? What was your guess? You say 90?
90.
and mine was 115.
Well, this is pretty much over, but
It's never over. Okay.
the last one.
I do have to go first this time, so you
is-
could just go
This is
crazy.
this is definitely an interesting.
So
one.
I'm how far away? I need to know that information to the dot.
It looks
the
like
dime.
you are.
I don't need a looks like
56 away.
56. So even if your
So
math's
you-
wrong, if I get 57, I win.
Yep.
Okay.
So
Castoplast
you could win.
first run mint, the color mint stall, brand new. First run Castoplast mint.
This is a market that
stall.
I'm very unfamiliar
Yeah,
with.
this is
Like,
this
do
is
any of us know anything about the
I know
Castoplast
all
market?
I need.
Hunter does.
Like I know about
Because that one
Castoplast
guy
discs,
said that
but
thing at the one time. He's like, "Oh, you guys got the mint yarn or whatever." That was a big deal. We really lost our investment there.
Yeah, it's not that big of a deal though.
I'm going smart play
They're not
here.
super expensive.
Yeah.
We've got from 50 to 250. I'm going 150.
All right, so I'm gonna go.
You gotta
I
get
lost.
you gotta get 57
100%
away
I
from me.
lost.
No, you can get 57 away from me.
Yeah,
But you think
I'll
I'm in the
just
right
go-
ballpark.
I think you're in the right ballpark. So I'll go 93.
I thought you were gonna do it. 235 is how much it went for. If you would have get, I thought you were just gonna go 250
Wow.
and get it.
I didn't. I felt like it was gonna be like 170. So I felt like no matter where I went, it was gonna be.
That
wrong.
was
Yeah.
that was a smart. I had to play conservative there because I really wanted to win. I don't think
I,
I,
that, I
very
said,
often.
you know what's stupid is I said it's not that much trying to get Konner to go low because I knew it was going to be high. But then once I needed to go
I didn't even
high,
hear
I was
you
like, there's
say
no
that.
way it's going to be over 200.
I didn't even hear you say that.
There it is, folks. That was down to the wire.
And that just wraps up that disc golf collecting is so fascinating, and all it matters is what's hype right now.
that
Really, because there was a time where
That
you could have sold.
Casty-plasty.
There was a time where you could have sold to get freaky
Casty-plast.
for 120 easy.
yeah. You know
A
what's
pink
Yeah.
first
you know-
OG.
well, let me tell you what still goes for money out there. Old Sextons in good conditions and anything that's 4-claw discraft, that stuff is worth oodles of money. So much. My goodness.
I traded
still have a
I
4-claw
traded a
horse.
4-claw
I gotta grab
buzz.
something.
I
If you've
traded
got
a,
like a black 4-claw zone, you can pay off your mortgage.
I traded a 4-claw buzz.
You
for-
traded it?
I traded it like it was like a year and a half
You
ago,
stupid
probably.
in the head.
Well, I didn't care about it, and I
That's
traded
worth like close to $200.
Well, you know what? I got a disc that was that.
What did you get for it?
I got a It was a Eric McCabe.
Oh, no.
It was an Eric McCabe titanium wasp.
That's what you traded for that?
Konner, that disc is worth like
Konner.
$15. Someone will
care.
actually pay you $5 to take
you
that
should
disc.
care.
I thought it was a cool disc.
No,
and where is it
cool
now?
disc.
I do not
And
feel
where
the
is it
least
now?
bit guilty
And
about
where
this.
is it now?
On my shelf.
Copycat Konner.
Copycat.
I just didn't really care
You
about
just
the,
wanted
about
that disc
the
because Trevor had it.
buzz.
All right, so I was just perusing Facebook the other day. I just went on there, and I saw
Perusing.
where Paul had shared end of our USDGC post
I'll say, did anyone post it?
About-
Gosh dang.
about a USDGC rock that they retroactively made. The post actually said this. Don't look at this yet.
I wanted to touch it.
Previously exclusive to USDGC partners, the special edition USDGC Rock is now available to the public and commemorates Chris Dickerson's win in 2020. Sponsorship constraints prevented us from producing this annual tradition at the time of his win, but we are pleased to report that his new sponsor has given us the green light to produce this disc in Chris's honor retroactively.
Which is a wild in concept.
So
That is crazy
basically,
concept.
Chris won in 2020. I have the disc here if you're watching, but if you're not watching on audio, you don't need to see it. It's okay. Chris
Just Google
won
it.
in 2020, and basically when he won, he was with Prodigy, and I guess Prodigy said no.
Like a good business, probably.
You can't use
Like,
Chris's.
yeah, that player we pay for their rights. Like, you can't.
You can't
make
use
You can't
Chris's
sell a
name
disc
like
with
this.
him on it. Like,
Makes a lot of sense.
yeah, smart business.
But now he's with Discraft. They
Discraft
said,
was like, nah.
yeah, go for it.
I hope
but
that Discraft is
typically-
getting royalties.
Well, typically it only goes to USDGC partners, which is this very small.
Well, that would be
collective group.
that would be one thing.
That's what it typically goes to.
Yeah.
But now that it's in retrospect, because what curiosity killed me here. Not really killed me, but it opened me to a
Killed you.
whole new world because it said
Dead man
this,
walking.
you can touch it. Producing this
May I touch
annual
it?
tradition,
Get your grind
right?
hands
This
off
annual
it.
tradition. So this one says this is going to my bag. This one says
Ooh.
2020 USDGC champion
Yeah.
annual tradition.
Mm-hmm.
These exist for every USDGC winner.
I've never seen
These
one in my
triple
life.
foil. There's a 2021 Paul McBeth USDGC champion rock triple
What?
foil of his putt to win the playoff.
Why have
on
we
eBay
never
for
heard about that?
$55 right now.
Why have I never heard of that?
How long?
There's a
Well, you never
2018.
you never heard of it though because before it was only going.
It was
to the
only
partners.
going to partners.
Yeah.
Some of these are on eBay. There's a 2018 Paul McBeth rock of him throwing on hole 7 triple foil, says 2018 champion on it. There's the James Conrad rock, also on eBay.
How much did that thing put you out?
$25.
This one was retail because now they're
Well, because I got this for retail. This one was released to the public, and so I spent $25 on it because I was like,
That's
these.
sick.
I was like, these don't exist. What the heck is this?
Is it a Rancho rock?
No, it exists every year. Yeah, it's just a rock, just champ rock.
I'll be darned if Discraft isn't getting a little kickback from those sales.
I would imagine Discraft isn't,
because-
but I'd imagine Chris is.
Oh, that thing feels
But if Discraft
good.
isn't, then like, what are we doing?
Because it's just the honor to have your name on the rock.
Yeah, but
for
that's
winning-
not how you should think about your number one competitor. Like, yeah, it's just an honor. So, like, go ahead and make a disc.
Well, it's
with
more
our
so
play.
like for the player that's because when I saw it, I was on the same train of thought as you. I was like, this makes no sense.
Yeah.
But it's been happening every single year, so it's part of winning.
I
Yeah,
will
but
say,
you get your name
But
on it.
before it wasn't business. Now it is.
But only this year. And it's only because Prodigy said no. So Discraft's looking at it as Prodigy stopped Chris from getting this prize,
So,
this thing.
so what? Why do they need to sell it?
Well, they're always sold. They're only sold to partners.
Right. So why do they need to sell it to the public this year?
Because they don't have the list of partners from 2020 probably. It's 2 years later.
They don't have the list anymore.
I don't know. I didn't ask these questions. I bought the rock.
I don't believe that.
complete side note. Well, not a side note.
I'm
it's
calling-
about
I'm
exactly
calling
this.
BS.
This is the best stamp I've ever seen of somebody.
It is
Yeah,
pretty good.
on Facebook
Because-
it's getting roasted.
Well, like
Really?
really,
Yeah, but I
Because
feel like
this
it looks exactly
incredible.
like him. Everyone
Well-
was saying it looks nothing like Chris.
What? It looks just like him. It
No.
looks phenomenal.
You want to see something that looks nothing like Chris? Look at the.
Yeah,
Oh
the
my
new-
god, the
Buzz
champion,
that
the
went
champion one. That looks
Champions Cup?
hideous. It looks so bad. There's too much detail. While this is the perfect amount to where like his beard looks realistic, but then like he doesn't have a bunch of weird lines on his face that don't look good on a stamp. Like this is really, really good.
It took me a little bit to find this earlier.
This is a very cool stamp. Everybody says otherwise does not share the same opinion
It's
as
one of
me.
those weird like and just keep it over there.
I'll hold
It's
it.
one of those weird like Innova owns a major type things that happens. That's just odd because Innova owns a major.
It is very. I mean, you can't.
It's incredibly
There's
odd.
no there's no good business reason to say yes. You can put my player's face and name
It's just an honor
and
It's
accomplishment
an honor
on a
thing.
disc.
Yeah, but like if I were running the business, I would say
Well,
say.
it-
Well,
I think it's
said
cool. I think it's cool.
I think
This is how-
I think Discraft saying yes makes it be like, oh, look how much better Discraft is than Prodigy. 'Cause
that's
Prodigy
definitely
said
what
that
no.
would be their
well,
spin.
not to mention their Star Child like literally posted.
Yeah,
about
this
it.
is the 2018
that
one.
would be their spin. It's kind of ugly.
Yeah, but like these exist. I'm trying to find the
That is
2021 one.
how far back do they go? Is what I want to know.
I don't know.
Because if there's a Will Schustrick one, then we got something to talk about.
I would love to see. There's got to be.
We got something.
I don't know because he was with Prodigy, so I wonder if Prodigy said
Oh
no.
my gosh, you're right. Well, not all the time though. Not in 2012, he wasn't.
It is crazy.
See, because this one
2012
I own this one. This one's in my basement. The 2015 one, but it's on a Rock 3, and it just says Paul McBeth, United States Disc Golf Champion. Not a super cool stamp. Never even crossed my mind. That was his 2015 for winning
Interesting.
USDGC.
And how did you get that?
Paul gave it to us to auction for something, so it's in my basement for me to auction eventually.
Wow.
But I'm trying to find the 2021. I only found one for sale, and I just might buy it.
I think you should.
I think you should too for
think-
science.
Here,
I think
look at
we'd
this
all
thing.
be
Triple
disappointed.
foil, his putt,
You should probably
quiet
get three.
sign,
is-
everything behind
That
it.
is very cool.
I think I'm buying it.
You should probably get 3, like just so we could see like the difference.
Let me make sure I'm not about to get
There's
scammed.
only one. Better hurry up, dude. People are listening to this podcast live
Conditions
right now. They're
new.
about to buy it.
I'm buying it
Yeah.
now. I'm buying
Our
it.
live
Liz,
audience.
I'm sorry. I'm paying $58 for this.
Oof.
Ooh, $60.92.
Ooh, that's a lot of Chick-fil-A.
Confirm and pay. Just don't think about it. Just don't think about it.
Don't
Just
think,
But I
just
think
think.
now that
about
we
it.
well, here's the thing though, Hunter. Now you just talked about it on the podcast. That disc is probably worth twice.
I'm
as
throwing
much.
this. I got to throw one of the two. What's cooler? Do I throw the Paul one that I
Throw
just
the- you
bought?
definitely throw the Dickerson one because that Paul
Triple
one
foil
is a
Macbeth.
moment in time. Like it's a picture of a huge USDGC moment.
Triple foil Macbeth, 3-time USDGC
Yeah.
champ rock, disc golf, Innova new, 180 gram. Their mistake 2002, they listed it at.
Literally
on
every
eBay.
single word you
Don't-
just said was my favorite thing I've ever heard.
I just bought it.
Don't-
Spent $60. I
don't
did
throw
it.
that
I
one.
caved. Well, but the
Throw
whole
the
reason I
Dickerson
made this
one.
talking point is because I was convinced as an Innova fanboy that has wanted to collect discs from Innova for a long time that these just didn't exist. And so I was like, why did
Disc
they do it
myths.
for Dickerson? Because then I said, surely if there was a Paul one from 2021 USDGC, I would have seen it.
They probably started
There
doing this
was.
because like I'm pretty
And
sure
I didn't see it until right now, and I bought it. $60. It's mine.
You know what's funny is I'm pretty sure
I own it.
I get it. I'm pretty sure an Innova player won USDGC for like every year until
Well, that's why I started thinking back, because like you even think recently you have Sexton, Big Germ, James Conrad was with Innova.
But when Felber won,
Paul,
he was with Innova.
2015.
When Will won the first time, he was with Innova. I think was.
That's what
let's
I'm
see.
saying.
I'm about to look it up right
rigged.
now. Let's see who is
Steve
the
Brinster
one
was
to
with
break.
Innova.
Let's see who was
Well,
the one
but
to break
also-
it.
Nate
all-
Doss, maybe? Is Doss a USDGC
Well, but
champ?
also at the time,
Here we
Innova
go.
players were winning everything.
So we have Climo.
Yeah, but I'm
Innova
saying
was-
like that's
So,
probably why this
let's
tradition
see.
It hasn't been a
started.
problem.
Let's see when
yeah.
the streak gets broken. So we have Climo, Schultz, Climo, Feldberg, Schultz, Climo. Oh, it is. It's Doss. Dawson. I did not know that.
I was gonna say I thought he won.
Dawson 08 breaks it, but then Nico in 09. Don't think he was with Innova yet, but he could have been. And then Schustrick, Brinster. So we're back to Innova. Schustrick, that year, Schustrick was not with Innova in 2014, so he broke it again. And then Paul, Coling, Sexton, Paul, Conrad, Dickerson breaks the streak again. So
Nate Doss has a 2009 USDGC champ rock.
it's 2008.
It must have come out in 2009.
Okay.
They all say rare 2009.
Okay.
His stamp kind
And
of sucks,
Avery
but it says
Jenkins
Nate
was
Doss
runner-up
on
that
it.
year. That's so they very rarely have run into this issue.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, where's the DOS one? Is that out there for sale?
Yes, it was like $70.
That's the coolest one because that's
2012 Will Schustrick
'cause he was-
USDGC champ rock. Oh, come on, open, baby. Let me just go to images.
because DOS was the first one to break the Innova streak. That's legendary. What a pioneer!
Oh, there's another Will Schustrick one right here. What year is this?
You just calmed down. right now.
2014 by Prodigy.
And
He was sponsored by Prodigy. It got made.
Changed things up, man.
And then here's the first Will one, 2010.
See, I've seen that one. See, but that one was available like there. That was on Disc Golf Center because I almost bought it.
I don't know, man.
Those have been retailed sometimes.
This is the
I
Steve
think.
Brinster one from 2013. So yeah, I mean, this just goes. I don't know how far back it goes,
Well, we got a game to play later, I guess.
but that's Trevor's trivia question for later, maybe.
Whoa. Trevor's trivia after.
I guess the real question is, A real
Trevor's
question
trivia dark
is Chris
at
Dickerson the first one that someone told him no to?
Sounds like it.
Because Shoestrick was yes in 2014. Did he win after 2014? Did he win in 2016? No, 2016 was Germ.
He won in 10, 12, 14.
So 12 and 14 I'm looking at.
Yeah. So
And 10 I'm right there.
Yeah.
So he's got all of those.
And
20
nobody broke the streak.
14,
again until
15 was Paul, 16 was Germ, 17 was Sexton,
18 was Paul.
18 was
19
Paul,
Conrad with Innova.
19 was Conrad,
Yeah.
20. So Dickerson was the first one to break
Dang,
that
dude.
someone said no.
They probably had Innova was probably so mad. They Innova was heated about
Well,
that.
obviously because Discraft didn't go back to Innova and say,
that's
"Hey,
wild and-
go ahead and make that rock."
Innova
Obviously,
was-
so
Innova
Innova
was
must have
like-
reached out to Discraft and been like, "Hey,
Bro.
you let us for Paul for 2021.
I just know that somebody
Can
was
we
looking.
go back to do Dickerson's?"
Jonathan Poole or somebody was like staring and looking at their wall of all of the years of rocks and then seeing that missing one. They're like, you know what? That guy doesn't play for Prodigy anymore. Like, let's see if that works.
No, I bet it was like after they got the yes from Discraft for Paul again. That they were like, hey, by the way, Prodigy told us no for Dickerson, but y'all now have the rights. Can we make it for
what
him?
a wild and
it's probably like,
concept,
oh, yeah,
man.
go for it.
Disc golf
That's
is
crazy.
crazy.
But yeah, so I now
they're just
have
all
a Paul
friends
one
with each
coming in.
other.
Toss me my Chris one back.
I'm so
This is
scared.
about to be my overstable rock, baby.
But he's throwing it. It's gonna be beautiful.
Especially now that I have a Paul one. It's way
gonna,
cool.
Yeah, that
that's
thing's
gonna
sweet.
fly beautifully.
That thing's
because it should fly like a Casey rock.
I've thrown a
brand
Champ
new.
rock before, and they're great. Nice dome to them, little pop top action.
I'm
Pop
jealous, for sure.
Do you mind? I want to ask a question.
It's only
Do you mind-
$25
Do you mind if I add another 4 minutes to this podcast? by
Well, we
asking
still
you a
have one
question?
more topic, but yeah, you can add another 4.
No, go ahead and do the topic then.
Okay, then no, ask the question first.
All right. It might take 1 second.
Yeah, you ready
Let's
for the quickest
let's
answer you
say
ever got?
yeah, it's gonna take 1 second. Let's say that tomorrow, Paul
Dies.
switches
Hey.
Switches.
back to Innova.
That would be.
How is
there would
his
be
bag?
rejoicing in the streets
How
of my
is his
household.
bag gonna be different than it was before he went to Discraft?
Wouldn't.
And
be.
do you think it would be different?
I think you'd have the crate back in. No, you wouldn't. 'Cause he
I
throws
will
forces,
say
he doesn't throw
the
ZCs.
only
I will
thing-
say there is a
I think he
He'd
would
throw a
put
Toro.
the Toro, and I think he'd put
what is it? A what?
Like a
it's
Valk,
like the
maybe?
new zone. And I was gonna say I think he'd put a beast.
A beast,
Would be
something
his
like
Undertaker.
he would need. He would want
He would
the
miss the
Undertaker.
Undertaker.
That's a great question because you're right. Because there's the only things
Well,
that
it's
he
also
throws
a great question
differently,
because Paul, as he should, if you ask him like what molds do you miss from Innova,
he'll say none.
he'll be like none.
yeah.
When you like, when he first switched,
Well,
I was
he's
like,
being paid $10 million.
Exactly.
If you
Well,
hand
when
him
he
a
first-
destroyer
when he
now,
first-
he
I would do
the
practically
same thing.
barfs at it.
when
He's
he
like,
first
yeah,
switched,
whatever.
when he first switched, I was
you
like,
love that disc.
I was like, you
Don't
surely,
lie to me.
that won you everything.
I was like, surely you missed like the Nova or the Rock 3 a little bit, right? He's like, no, the buzzes and everything's just so much better. I'm like, all right, Paul, it's just me and you though. Like, surely you could say. He's like, nah, dude. I'm like,
He doesn't-
dang it,
doesn't
come on,
crack.
I almost got you. I was recording.
Which honestly though, like knowing Paul, like I think he's probably believes it because
Well, here's the
he
thing.
would
No,
totally
he would-
tell
he
you.
would tell me.
Yeah, I think he.
Well,
I
Yeah.
can't believe I can't.
Especially when he first switched, he
Yeah.
would have been like, I don't know. When you first switch, you have a little excitement at least.
I can believe that if he went back to Innova, he would miss the buzz. I can
Yeah.
believe that because
He throws it very,
Innova
very well.
doesn't have anything that's like the buzz. The Rock is nothing like the buzz.
No.
it's
Well-
very flight wise and feel wise. It's different than the
I
buzz.
mean, he uses them for the same thing though.
Yeah, and they accomplish very similar things.
Well, I think what probably happened is the same thing that happens to a lot of people is he started throwing buzzes. Well, actually, I heard this on an interview, so I know this is what happened. Maybe not an interview or a video. He said he had to get used to throwing flat. Which is the exact same thing that happened to me too. Was I used to be good throwing mids because I would hyzer flip them, then started throwing buzzes, had to learn to throw flat, ruined my form because of my own fault, and now I can't throw hyzer flips anymore. Paul's better than me, so I bet he could go back.
Is
to just a little bit. I bet. I don't. Maybe not this week. I'm just kidding.
If you're watching,
Dang.
but
little context.
so he could probably go back, throw a hyzer flip like no one's business right now easily. But because it's like he's good at it. But it would probably take some getting used to because he's so used to throwing those mids flat now.
Yeah.
You know, like he
especially the
doesn't-
new rocks. You throw those flat, they go woo to the right. Not KC rocks, the new rock 3.
Yeah, the rock threes.
That's why I'm a rock guy. I'm not a rock 3 guy.
That's why I'm Mama Rock guy.
I'm a rock guy. The only rock 3 I have in my bag is a 2015 USDGC Luster Rock 3.
Stable.
That thing's
It's gonna get
stable.
replaced.
It's gonna get replaced by this right here. You're looking at it. Chris
Is that your
Dickerson.
new Old Faithful? Old
No,
Trusty?
I'll never call it Disc Old Faithful again.
It was Old
Old
Trusty.
Trusty.
Old Trusty. I'll never call it Old Trusty again.
Will you
It's
call it
an
Old Faithful?
Yeah.
I'll call it Old Faithful.
You really need to nickname a disc again because that used to be your thing and it was very funny, and now you don't do it anymore and it stinks.
Oh, okay, my bad, man. Sorry, I hurt your feelings.
Like no one has liked a single video that's come out.
No
since
one
then.
hasn't liked anything.
What?
I need to pull up a little something here
For this next topic?
Yeah, so
We
the
do Hunter's
U.S.
trivia?
Amateur Disc Golf Championship went down, right? And I believe it ended in a 7-hole playoff for the MA1 champion. I don't actually know if
That's
it's
bizarre.
MA1, but the male
I
champion.
think the Junior Worlds and the US Am Worlds always have the most electric finishes. You know what I rewatched the other day was the US Am Worlds from years back when AB won on the last hole against a guy and he threw that downhill shot. And watching that other guy, I'm not even gonna, you can go back and watch it, but he was all over the place, like an emotional mess, and like watching him collapse in that last hole, tough to watch. And like he's like the guy, he's like trying to be in good spirits, and like he rips it out of bounds, and he turns around, he's like he literally go like he's one of those guys who like tries to be a really good sport, but it's a little cringe. He goes,
Yeah.
"Let's go, AB!" Like says that to AB, who's about to step up and win it. Whoa, and he does. Go ahead and watch that if you haven't. I forget what year it is, maybe 2014, but it's AB throws one of the sickest drives on 18 to win that thing, and it is awesome.
So the guy that ended up winning, his name's Ilkin Groh, I believe.
Yeah.
Ilkingroh. Ilkin Groh, that's how I'm pronouncing it.
Dave Grohl.
He hit a circle 2 putt to force a playoff, step putt. Then in the playoff to win it all, step putt.
Yeah.
People on Facebook are roasting him, calling them both foot faults. So they're saying that he had a foot fault to force the playoff and a foot fault to win the playoff. When you watch it in full time, is it close? Yeah. Have I seen the screenshots of the disc still in his hand while his front foot's touching? Yeah. Was it called? No. So therefore, not a foot fault.
I didn't see the second one. I saw the first one, and I slowed it down myself, and it's not perfect footage, so I could never tell for sure. But it is either clean or so close to clean that nobody would ever call it in their modest dreams. The problem here is that there are a lot of step putts that are foot faults technically. Now the difference between your foot hitting the ground and your foot not hitting the ground, that disc in your hand, that's not really changing your advantage, I don't think.
No.
In fact, I think it would throw you off if your foot hit the ground really heavy.
Yeah.
So, and like the fact that these were under the spotlight is the only reason people are talking about them. I think that the problem is that the rule, like step putts are just kind of broken. So I don't know what the PDGA can do about that or if they will, but like, I think that's like step putts are always going to be so hard to call because it's such a bang, bang play. Like, and you're paying attention to the hand and the feet and it happens so fast. Calling them in real time is so difficult.
That's the thing. If you watch both those
And there's
putts
such a huge
without
advantage.
slowing it down,
This is why.
how are you ever calling
Yeah,
that?
at the highest level, and this isn't technically that, but it is a PDGA major, so maybe they would. But at the highest level, I think they need to expand the circle to get rid of those, because step putts I don't think are really an issue that people complain about until it's those 40 footers, there's those 35 footers where you're like getting so much closer to the basket. That's where it's like a little overpowered, I think.
I mean, Brody proves that it's overpowered.
Yeah, and I think putting in disc golf
You give him a 40-footer?
I don't think we need to work to make putting in disc golf easier. I think if we make it a little harder, it'll create more scoring separation, make putting more of a big deal. It'll give holes more defense and courses more defense. And I think that's a direction the sport should probably move in more so. That's a whole other thing. But I think the issue is more with the rule, because like you're never going to be able to call those perfect. People were getting really worked up, and I think it was a little bit like overdone.
I think it's been overblown.
Because we've all thrown
Drastically.
step putts that look exactly like that. Obviously, the guy's not trying to cheat, and I think it's
I don't
so
think it
close.
gained him an advantage.
I don't think it gained him an advantage.
If his foot was still off the ground here versus like the one I saw, his foot was like barely touching the ground and the disc about to come out of his hand.
Yeah.
You're really telling me that inch higher that would make it legal gives him any advantage?
Yeah, no.
No, he hit the putt.
No. It has
And again, I stand by, like, if it wasn't called, like, did his foot technically hit the ground? And sure, on the second one, sure. The first one was very close. But in real time, very hard to tell. No real advantage was given, and it wasn't called. The guy won.
I mean, the other guy
You can't-
the other guy had 7 holes to beat him. So it's like
Yeah, and the other, I mean, well, he
and
also
the other
had
guy
however
could
many
also the other
holes
guy
up
could
to
have
it.
step putted the exact same way and not like it is what it is.
Yeah, it's just under so much scrutiny, and a lot of
Everybody
people have
needs to
tweeted at us
relax.
and messaged us on Discord and all
I think
this
you would have
stuff.
thought we
like,
were going to be worked up about that.
trying to get us worked up about it. But I'm like, the thing is, if it was a blatant cheat, intentional cheat, and gained him a huge advantage, absolutely. But people are like, this dude cheated his way to winning an amateur major
didn't.
title. I'm like, you can't, like,
give me a break.
The kid didn't cheat.
Yeah.
He step putted and his foot touched the ground slightly before. Really, it wasn't.
I'm sure people
like,
would be amazed if they saw footage of them step putting, how close they were every
I
single
think
time.
what it is
It's very
people,
hard to perceive.
People that call it or like or get very upset about it, I don't think
they
they
don't
step putt.
Yeah.
I think they're just upset.
But if
that they don't step
you
putt.
watched all the ones that happen on the tour, every single event, you would see a ton of them look just like that one or worse.
Yeah,
like
and
it
like-
happens all the time.
like either ban all step putts or don't get upset when it's not called, because in real time
It's never gonna get called.
it's basically impossible, because even if one person be like, hey, football, I saw it, you got to have a second one to second
right.
it.
Yeah.
And they probably weren't watching.
Or if they
Their
were,
foot.
you're looking at the putt. You're looking at the putt coming
Yeah.
out.
Because
Exactly.
for me, when I'm watching you guys step putt, I'm not worried about him foot faulting because I know it's not getting him an advantage. So I'm just watching.
The only
putt.
way to crack down on that is to be like, everybody, I'm about to step putt, and they are like, okay, we're getting out the slow motion camera.
Yeah.
But then you can't use video evidence.
either. So
Well, then there's no way to crack down.
That's what I'm saying. Like you can also say the same thing of, what about players who jump putt and their feet leave the ground before they release the disc?
yeah.
You want to call them on that? You don't have a supporting point when you release the disc behind your lot.
I think if we get these kind of things further away from the basket,
I have never even
by
thought about
increasing
that.
the distance of the
Like,
circle.
but you're telling me that doesn't happen just as often, if not more often, than the foot landing in
Because
front?
I'm not even sure I realized that was illegal, but it makes a lot of
Because
sense.
you're leaving the ground. You don't have a
Yeah.
supporting point behind
disc
your lot.
golfers have strong enough wrists to putt from flat feet from like 80 feet plus. So like we don't need the circle to be that short. It can be longer. I think that's what should happen.
Yeah, I think, but I'm
Increase
saying
the circle.
until you solve one, then either
Let's make a shirt. Increase the
A,
circle.
get like the same outrage about both. I think we need to abolish the circle and create greens on the Pro Tour.
Unique to every
Every hole is just unique, where you can step putt, where you cannot. So like
I would
so it's
I
like,
agree.
hey, this is a really like being long left. You're gonna have like a 25-foot jump putt or stepper. That's a bit big, too much,
would-
but just stick with me. We'll just say 30, so it's the same. But then if you're short right, 60 feet is where the circle goes to.
And where the shorter putts are, maybe there's more danger. Like it gives
that
you a
way
lot
you
more
have to be smarter
options.
about where you land, too.
Well, it
Or
allows
like-
course design to not be just like a circle, but
Yeah.
you can like use
Or
it.
it's like, oh, you got to the short step putt area. Well, now you're looking at a cliff behind the basket.
yeah,
Like
so you
there's
can, but it
little bit of
allows more
everything.
creativity in course design.
I also think that if doing the unique greens would be cool, adding in either sand or mulch to like allow discs that hit greens. Like if you hit a green, it stops quicker. To where it changes the way you can attack greens.
That
where
would
you
be
can
cool.
you can throw more aggressive shots at a green, knowing that all I got to do is hit it and it's going to stick. And you would see people throwing some wild approaches.
That'd be
I don't know.
cool.
I
That's
just
another
think
thing to
it'd
think
be-
about. There's a lot to be done with greens.
I really like the idea. This is why I like the idea of the Pro Tour splitting rules wise from the PDGA, because if you do that rule, what we just talked about of the greens, and you let a random C tier have a hold of that rule,
It's a disaster.
It's going to be the worst thing you've ever heard
a
of.
disaster.
Because because not everyone should be
You know
a
what?
championship level course designer.
What we should do every year is run an unsanctioned event and just like keep the field like pretty tight knit and just call it like a tester event and test out all these different like unique rules we have
Well, we should just do
and
it.
play it through.
We should
use like
definitely-
slightly smaller baskets, green size unique, like no run ups if you're in the rough, like just crazy stuff and play a whole event like that.
We should just do a
That'd be
video.
crazy.
We should just do a video where we test all these rules.
That would also be
But regardless, that's where like the Pro Tour, I think you can trust the Pro Tour to come in Monday when they're setting up the course and set up or approve the greens. So the Pro Tour has a separate ruling system where the greens are defined by flags or whatever it is. And if a disc is on the green, no step putt. If it's off the green, you can jump
Yeah.
putt, step putt, whatever.
The only thing, I will say the one thing about it is it does just become another thing that you have to very carefully define something without obstructing like the disc.
Well, that though, it's not as important visually because it's
No,
not a
I'm talking about, like,
stroke penalty.
play-wise.
You just put the little things in the ground and then you string to string, all of them. Because they're already little stakes in the ground.
Yeah.
You just add string. Because again, that one doesn't have to be super visual for the crowd or for viewers, as long as it's somewhat visual. And those little whiskers don't affect. They're the same as grass.
Yeah.
And then you put string around it.
Yeah. It's also, I mean, it does
Boom.
also not nearly as big as the impact on the event as OB is.
Well, I mean, you can say the
Like-
same thing about the circle though, with needing to
Yeah,
define it.
no, I agree. That's
So
what I'm saying.
it's-
That's what I'm saying. It's not nearly as big of an impact with
No,
as OB.
because like it's can you step out or not?
I'm not. Yeah, exactly. So it's not like it's gonna like decide somebody's tournament like OB could.
Yeah, especially like if we're talking a 30-footer, a lot of guys aren't step putting even if they
Yeah.
are outside. But I don't know. I just think that I really like that idea for disc golf.
Imagine if this would be in, like the custom greens. Imagine if you have a green where there's one tiny little spot you can land, where if you land there, you can step putt from like 10 feet.
Well, I think there would be some regulation because step putting from 20 feet even is like if we step putt from 20 feet, I don't think we're missing.
You probably don't have to regulate it because
I think you regulate like the
wouldn't do
closest.
it because they'd be stupid.
Well, I think you just make it like 30 feet is as close as it can be.
Yeah.
And then it can be as big as you want.
Yeah.
Like you could have a 100-foot approach shot, but since you landed here, standstill
you
only.
had to say, it's awesome. That's awesome.
I don't know. Now, there's a lot to be explored
got guys, like, throwing
if the
little
Pro Tour has separate rules. Because again, you use that in a C
electric.
tier and you let, no offense to any of the TDs, but more than likely the TD that would do this isn't listening to this podcast because they probably don't care about disc golf enough.
Got
But a random, like you let some of the
Shots
random
fired.
TDs just like have free reign on islands and all this random stuff. Like there's a reason the PDGA needs the
it'd be
rules
the
that are in
Wild
place
West.
to be in place because like
liability. For
well,
some
not
of it.
liability for some and other things like the amount of stroke and distance and all
liability
this
of their
random
sport.
stuff would suck. But on the Pro Tour, you can trust them to have the spirit of the rule and be able to actually do it and not abuse
because
it.
if they don't do it correctly, they'll get
It ruins their
roasted by
tour.
a ton of people.
Yeah. So that's where I think it needs to be slightly different rules. But
Love it.
all right, that's
Love
the
it.
podcast. Hopefully you
stuff.
enjoyed. If,
That's the podcast.
if you're upset I'm back, you're welcome.
Yeah, it makes sense.
yeah, and if you're upset that Trevor's still here, you're welcome.
Bye.